Hey guys, this is John from Owl Test Prep with my first video in my Data Sufficiency series. I don't know how many videos they're going to be, but I'll just probably keep going till I'm satisfied. Anyway, this is the introduction, so I'm going to talk about the structure of the question and the answers. And I'll give you a little bit of a mnemonic to help you remember the answers. Now, if you're totally inexperienced, this should probably help you get your feet wet and get started. If you're a little bit experienced, there might be a few pieces of information in here that are new to you. And if you're experienced, I've provided two relatively difficult questions, and you can definitely pause the video and try those. And I'll give the answer at the end of the video, but without explanation, because I want to keep this very introductory. Anyway, if you're looking for more explanation on the answers to these questions, just write a comment and I'll definitely provide you with an explanation, maybe even a video. So let's see. Anyway, let's get started. So a lot of times when I talk about data sufficiency, I like to use the abbreviation DS. So I'll probably start doing that in this video and continue in the rest of the videos. So just keep that in mind. When I say DS, I'm talking about data sufficiency. So every DS question comes with obviously a question, but I like to call it the prompt. So this here is the prompt, and here's a different prompt. And DS questions come in two flavors. There's the yes-no flavor, where you need to use your clues to either answer the question, yes or no, definitely. And just before I get going too far, these are the clues or the data. And then a value question is looking for a single value. So in this particular case, they want a single value for this expression, a minus b squared. And then, of course, we have clues here as well. Now, in value questions, it's important to know that the clues are always logically consistent. So you can't have like a clue number 1, a equals 5, and clue number 2, a equals 4. This can help when you're doing the questions, and we'll get into the nuances of how to use that to your advantage in later, more advanced videos. But for right now, we've got two questions here. One's a yes-no question, one's a value question. Each one comes with a prompt and two clues or pieces of data, or I think datum is the singular for data. You learn a new word every day, right? And that's it for now. So hopefully like this logically consistent thing was new to you. And if you're just getting started, hopefully all of this is new and useful. So now we got to move on to the answers. So let's see. We get 5 answers. They're always the same answers for every data sufficiency question, which kind of makes this unique. And I think data sufficiency is unique to the GMAT, as far as I know. So answer A tells you that statement 1 alone is sufficient, but statement 2 alone is not sufficient to answer the question asked. So we got 1 alone, sufficient, 2 alone, not sufficient. And then answer B, we've got 2 alone is sufficient, but statement 1 alone is not sufficient. So these are kind of like the converse of each other. 1 works, but 2 doesn't, or 2 works, but 1 doesn't. Answer C is both statements together are sufficient. So you need to put the two statements together and kind of combine them in some way to answer the question. Answer D says that each alone is sufficient. So you can use 1 by itself, and you can use 2 by itself to answer the question. And E is sort of the not enough information. 1 and 2 together are not sufficient. So you can't do 1 alone, you can't do 2 alone. Even if you put them together, you still don't have enough information, and so that's it. You're done. Insufficient. Now, I realize that these answers are kind of bewildering if you've never seen them before, and it's kind of hard to keep track of which answer corresponds to what, and so you start off doing questions, and you finally figure it out, and then you don't even know what to do because you're not sure which answer is which. And so to avoid that, I'm going to provide you with a little bit of a mnemonic. Well, it's not a little bit of a mnemonic, it is a mnemonic, to help you remember which answer corresponds to what. And that is the phrase 1, 2, 10. So you got the 2 digits. Man, highlighter, hello. Okay, sorry about that. You got the 2 digits, 1 and 2, and then the word 10. And 1 corresponds to answer A, 2 corresponds to answer B, T corresponds to answer C, E corresponds to answer D, and N corresponds to answer E. So answer A, 1, is just 1 alone, right? And answer B, which corresponds to 2, just means 2 alone. Answer C corresponds to T because that's together. And answer D corresponds to E because that's either one. And answer E corresponds to N, which means neither. All right. So like I said, at the end of the video, I would go back and talk about the questions in particular and give you some answers. So it turns out that in the first question, the answer is B. And in the second question, the answer is A. So in the first question, the yes-no question, number 1 is not sufficient to answer the question. And it turns out that 2, if you correctly interpret it, is sufficient to tell you whether ABC is odd. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is the fact that ABC is odd. It could be even, and that would be a no to our yes-no question, right? And then in number 2, or the second question, the value question, number 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question. And this is actually an example of a C trap, which we'll get into later. It looks like you can put the 2 clues together in a really obvious way. And if you know A is 5 and A times B is 10, you know that B has to be 2. And then obviously, you know everything you need to know. But it turns out that just statement 1 has enough information in it to answer the question. And statements 1 and 2 together is kind of overkill. Okay, so please subscribe. Send me any comments you have, especially if you're looking for explanations to these 2 questions. And I hope this helps you if you're new and doesn't sound too pedantic if you're not new. Thanks for listening in, and keep coming back for more.